Hello to all the comic fans, Marvel geeks, and all the nerds in between. Welcome to another episode of the new and improved Vigilante Vibes, where we talk all things Marvel along with other fandoms, but without the toxicity that's taken up such a big space in each and every fandom. I'm your host, Megan Nicole, and today I have a very special guest who's going to help me break down and review a classic but questionable movie, Howard the Duck. Please welcome John from Smash Trivia. Thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for letting me come on. I'm very excited to talk about Howard the Duck with you.
I'm excited too. Before we get started, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am the host of Smash Trivia Presents the Gamma Analysis. Is a podcast that I've had Megan on a couple times. But basically I review I have a focus on Hulk, but I review all kinds of geeky films and it's always a fun time over there and I also do just random videos on both TikTok and YouTube as well. Which TikTok is actually where I met Megan. I saw her page on TikTok and immediately was like, I love this. I want to get to know this person.
Been on Smash Trivia before. We've talked all about movies, and some movies, like Howard the Duck, a little more questionable than others, but that's okay. But it's a fun time. I always have a great time, and I'm really glad you could be here with me.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here too.
So, we're going to break down Howard the Duck, the movie. A little about the movie before we start. Howard the Duck came out in 1986 and was the first Marvel Comics character to ever grace their presence on the silver screen. It has been considered among the worst films ever made, but has also developed a cult following. It was nominated for 7 Razzie Awards, winning 4 of them, and made about $38 million. $16.3 million domestically compared to its $30 to $37 million budget. And it currently sits at 13% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh man. Which this, if I remember right, is one of only 2 or only 2 years where they had a tie for the Razzie Award, the Worst Picture Razzie Award, and the other year also had a Marvel film. It was the 2015 Fantastic Four.
Oh, God, that one was horrible, too. I forgot about that one. I try to forget about that one.
Understandable.
So, I thought the movie was all kinds of horrible. It creeps me out. I don't like Howard the Duck because of that movie. So many things about it have stuck with me as a person and changed me as a person. What are your thoughts on the movie?
It's a film where I understand and I'm absolutely fine with the fact that most people very much dislike the film. But I don't know what it is. I was just this charm about it that as soon as I watched it, I immediately fell in love with it. It weirdly, and I think it's mainly because I just think that I think there's this a charm to Howard and Beverly's relationship in
it. I'm sure there's. I'm trying so hard. I'm sure there's a charm.
Hey, it's okay. Say all the bad things you want about it. I'm absolutely fine with it. I've gone on other podcasts before talking about it, and I've never met anybody who liked it as much as I do. I even went on one where it was where we were not only reviewing the film, but we were supposed to we were doing this kind of game where we were supposed to fix the film and it was a lot of fun on creating our own versions of the movie.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which shout out to the Reshoot Movie Podcast, which was where I did that on.
Oh, I like them. They're very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, you're like the only person I've ever met that liked the movie. Even when I saw it when I was way too young to be watching it, I hated it. I hated it
That's,
so much. And
uh,
I remember my dad mentioned something about it being a superhero movie. And at that point, I had watched like the animated series of X-Men and Spider-Man and Batman, and I was like, that's not a superhero. And that screwed me up for a little bit.
I feel like it's more apt to call it a comic book film than a superhero film because it's not
Hmm.
really. He's not. I wouldn't say he's really a superhero. Like though he does. So I do think that he does have at least like a power of like super strength. Like that's about the closest to being a superhero he is.
Yeah, that's really all he's got. It's from the time he left Duck World, and it just kept going and going, and like you had the Dark Overlord, and there, it's just so strange, just so much of it. Why did they put Leah Thompson in this movie? Who did that to that poor
You
girl?
know, I think that Leah Thompson is the best part of this movie, though. Though, like I genuinely think there is like a good chemistry between in Howard and Beverly, which I credit all of that to Leah Thompson because when they were filming the film, they had not cast the voice of Howard yet, so she created all of that chemistry herself.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, she did amazing.
Uh,
She does not get enough credit for this because she had to create chemistry with a fake duck
yeah.
that and she had to like put herself in some pretty awkward positions to do it. Like they were in bed and everything, and the movie I think is terrible, but she should win multiple awards for that because she gave it her all.
Oh yeah, and she's still to this day a she actually a likes the film and appreciates the fans of it, which it's just really cool to see that she hasn't just like
Yeah,
throwing it off like I wouldn't be surprised most actors would have done, but being in a film like this.
I would have. I would have pretended it never happened. I would spend all my money to scrub it from the internet, all of it. So, a little, I guess, little known fact or little not known fact, this movie was actually supposed to be animated. George Lucas and his screenwriters always envisioned Howard the Duck as an animated movie. However, Universal Studios had other ideas. We really wanted to animate it, they said, in the making of the documentary. But Universal needed a picture for the summer of 1986. Animation is, of course, a lengthy process, and hand drawn film have made, couldn't have been made that quickly. So George said, well, we can build a duck and we can do it with the technology that we have. And damn you, George Lucas. Why did you say that?
Oh, which this film had a major impact on the on I would say honestly the whole entertainment industry a because of its flop because this film is what led to the creation of Pixar
That's true.
because they had George Lucas is had to sell Lucas Animation Asian because of this failure. Or I also kind of wonder under, and this is something I'll be talking about on an episode of my podcast with cast as next week with Jeremy Plum, I believe his name
I
is,
love
who
him.
you had on your podcast as so of how I believe that if had this film been successful, not only would Disney not own Marvel now, but also not own Star Wars now. I think if this film had been successful, because I think that this film's flop was definitely a contributing factor towards or is not only them having to wait for or so long on till the beginning of the 2000s to make any more Star Wars films, and then also in the 90s is with Marvel's bankruptcy. I bet this had a contributing factor there.
I could absolutely see that. Imagine you're Marvel and you're like, we're finally going to make one of our characters into a movie, and it's freaking
Yeah.
Howard the Duck, and it
Yeah.
got 13%, and people were traumatized everywhere.
With the Jeremy Plum on next week on my podcast, what we're doing, we're gonna be creating a whole alternate history of what if Howard the Duck had been successful. And we're just gonna be like, we're gonna mix like things we actually believe would have happened, and also just like goofy things that we think would be funny to throw in there. I'll tease with this one thing. I think I'm going to throw in there is I'm going to say that that if it had been successful in 2016, instead of having our first orange president, we would have our first duck president,
Oh, gosh.
and he would happen to also be named Donald.
Well, I mean, speaking of Donald Duck, the Dark Overlord sounded exactly like Donald Duck, because why not? That might as well happen in this movie.
Which when I was first watched this film, so was assuming that Dark Overlord, the universe, was just something they made up for this film. No, that is actually an obscure comic book villain.
Is
Apparently,
it?
yeah,
Is
and
it?
apparently the
Oh,
Saminar, or whatever the planet they're from, is also a obscure planet in Marvel.
I want to see. Dark. I'll be damned.
Mhm.
It is. It is a member of the Dark Overlords of the universe. Okay. That. Okay. Sure. But God, what a freaking movie.
Oh yeah.
Um, Another fun fact: Robin Lawrence, no, Martin Short and Robin Williams auditioned to be the voice of
Mhm.
Howard the Duck. John Cusack also tried out. Ultimately, it was Broadway star Chip Zien,
Mhm.
an original Into the Woods cast member, who delivered Howard's lines. That
Yeah.
poor man.
So, Robin Williams I'm pretty sure he actually had gotten cast, but he quit the film because, and it wasn't because he thought the film was bad or anything. It was actually just because of the fact that they had filmed it before he had come on, because as that meant he had to match his voice to the Duck's mannerisms, instead of him being able to go as wild as he wants.
Hmm.
Since Robin Williams has a very wild
Yeah.
personality and range, and he was annoyed by the fact that he couldn't be able to do that with this.
Yeah, I I could have seen Robin Williams doing it, but I think it going to Chip made the most sense. It fit
Yeah, I think
better.
Chip's voice always worked for Howard.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, Howard, we got to talk about the suit. The Howard the Duck, the the Howard the Duck. It was incredibly complex,
Mhm.
which you would not think, but it is. Unlike most high tech creature suits that have been built in the past, all of Howard's wires, motors, batteries were fully contained inside his body. A four puppeteer team was in charge of regulating facial expressions with a remote control. Apparently, their individual jobs were very specific. One person was only concerned about the eyes. Someone would be doing the mouth, and someone else would be doing the nose. It was apparently a nightmare of coordination.
I bet. Yeah.
It's just what
I
nightmares are
feel
made
like
of.
I feel like this is a film where it had to the people behind the scenes, it had to have been a labor of love for them, and I say that because this is even though I like this film, I understand and why people dislike it, and I can't imagine this is something that you would do for the money, because I think it was spelled out before this film came out. This was not going to be making a lot of money. So so there must have been like some kind of passion there, if it's not about the money.
I don't know. I can't imagine they made a good amount of money there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was so long ago too, so
Mm-hmm.
whatever they made would not be anything now, but at that time I'm sure it was a good a okay amount. But imagine like your job title is Howard the Duck's eyes. What do you do? How do you
Wow.
even get paid for that? Is it like a salary?
Uh,
Who knows? Oh my
uh,
god. Like I had to rewatch this movie to prepare for this, and I just sat there like, "Oh my god. My parents let me watch this.
yeah, this
There's
is
a topless duck in
yeah.
a bathtub."
Yeah, this is a film, and I've talked to multiple people about this, is how I don't think they knew who their audience was, because it feels like they're trying to have both the child audience and the adult audience, and and it's a weird combination. They are not they're not willing to go as mature as an actual R-rated film, but they're way too mature for it to be a child-friendly film.
I think that's exactly it. They have no idea who they were targeting to. So they just kind of did it. And they're like, let's make this really weird duck. He's
Oh my
already a
god.
known character, so if you read comic books, this is for you. But if you like little pervert ducks, this is for you. But kids, if you like ducks, this is for you. If you liked anything Leah Thompson was in, this is for you. Turns out it was for no one.
Okay.
And the fact that, okay, what made me the most mad is that like I wanted to watch it for this episode because I haven't seen it in so long because trauma. But I have to pay to watch it. Like it's not
Uh,
streaming anywhere, and
it,
I
it,
still had to pay
it's
like $4.
yeah, it's an annoying thing where it's sometimes streaming places and then
Yeah.
sometimes it's not, and it's really annoying that it's a very 50-50 thing whether you're gonna actually be able to watch it or not. I it you know there's an I hate having to pay money to watch anything for my podcast, because I if I had to do that every time, it would get it's so expensive so quickly.
So quick.
I because of that problem, I actually just bought a DVD of the entire our 70s Hulk TV show, because I knew that it's never going to be streaming anywhere, and I'm like,
Nope.
I'm not spending any like $2 every
Yeah.
week that I want to review this.
I think I'm sure I'm not thinking this through at all, but I think if a movie gets a certain percentage with the audience, straight to streaming, you should never have to pay for it again. So if this movie just like sucks, like 13% Howard the Duck, no one should pay for you. Who's getting that money? Because like you don't deserve it.
Uh, oh. So, something that I think is very interesting that I haven't heard anybody else talk about, that regards with the What If episode that came out with
Yeah.
Howard the Duck, is, and I think this is a very interesting thing. That is the first time since this movie that they allowed Howard the Duck to be a lead in something, which is I think really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if that was them kind of testing the waters to see if people would be okay with something related to Howard the Duck ever coming out again in the future. Leah Thompson went to Marvel to try and get them to let her direct a Howard the Duck film a few years ago, and they told her no because they already have plans for Howard the Duck.
Do you think that was just like a nice way of them saying we don't want to
I
deal
think
with
it
this,
might have
Leah?
been, to be honest, because like it's been a few years and no scooper or anything has said that they're working on something related to Howard the Duck. But I do kind of wonder if there was a part of them that were thinking with the What If episode that we're gonna test the waters, see if people are more or okay with the Howard the Duck movie nowadays, since and people are a lot more okay with a lot more weirder things and things in cinema nowadays than they were back in the 80s.
E- ah, I just don't see where a Howard the Duck project would go. I think What If was the best place for him, unless they
Yeah.
give him his own show, his own like mini
I think,
series or a special presentation.
I think the best way that they can do it, do sign with Howard the Duck, is to bring him to Earth in the MCU, and have him set up his own private detective agency. That I think would be the most interesting thing they could do with him, because he has done private detective stuff in the comics.
That's true. The one thing I will say they could do is make him the new Stan Lee cameo and just kind of have him or his picture somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, like, what else are you going to do? What movie that's coming out this year would a cameo of of Howard the Duck make sense?
I mean, hey, if Natasha Lyonne is playing Birdie again in the Fantastic Four, he could appear there.
I am very
I would be
confused
very
about that.
surprised if she does, but yeah.
I'll be really surprised if she plays Birdie.
That-
I don't see
it would
it.
be wild if she were playing Birdie in that. To be honest, I don't. I think if they ever bring that character in live action, which I don't think they will, I think it will be another actor playing her, just because at least to me, Natasha Lyonne did not look like someone, or Birdie did not look like she's as old as Natasha Lyonne is in real life.
I think
So,
Birdie was supposed to be like 21 or something.
Yeah, and Natasha Lyonne is like in her 40s or something. I feel like they would more likely cast a young actress if they were or put her in live action.
I don't even know how old she is now, because I actually don't know. I would have said like 30. Oh, 45. Dang, she looks good. Good
Yeah.
for her. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna play Birdie unless she's like an older
It'd be
Birdie.
wild. Then I don't know how that character would fit into the Fantastic Four.
I mean, how does Herbie fit in the Fantastic Four?
That's
Like,
true.
at this point, we're discussing Howard the Duck. How does it fit into anything? And we're concerned about Birdie, the most normal part of him.
Oh man.
Oh God, that's what do you rate this movie out of 10?
I honestly, this is, I know this is crazy to say, but
Oh my God.
I would rate it probably good, 8 out of 10, something like that. But that's just my personal feelings. I do not mind if you rate it really lowly. I do not mind.
I respect your decision. I would give it a 0 because
Understandable.
there was absolutely no. I'll give it a 1 because of Leah Thompson. But other than her, there was absolutely no part of this movie I liked, and I did not realize I hated it this much until I rewatched it, and I was like, "Damn it, John! Why?"
Hey, I'm on a mission to make as many people watch Howard the Duck as I can.
Do you work? Are you the guy that controlled the eyes? Is that
I've,
you?
I have literally made like probably like 3 or 4 podcasts at this point on review Howard the Duck, and even if the people absolutely hate it, I still find the episodes absolutely hilarious to listen to.
And you know they've all rewatched it. So you've made Howard the Duck at least like $20. That's more than he's made in like 10 years. You should
Oh,
work for
man.
Marvel. That's actually pretty diabolical. I'm impressed right now.
Oh man.
You're going to go do the same thing to poor Jeremy next week.
Oh man. Oh, well, I'm not gonna make him actually watch it. We're just gonna talk about what if it had actually been successful. And based on how we've talked in the in DMs, I'm guessing he has seen it or before, or the.
Jeremy is an amazing person. I
Oh,
cannot
yeah.
think of a better movie for him to talk about. He's so funny, and this movie lacked everything funny, so he will bring it to it. And it's so bad.
Oh man.
God, what a stupid movie. Oh, God, I'm so mad. I even asked my husband, like, "Do you want to watch it with me?" And he's like, "Absolutely not. Good luck. You're on your own. I have nothing to gain from that." And I was like,
Just
"You are
edible.
so valid, so valid." Oh God, this movie. It was just so creepy from beginning to end. Like, God bless Leah Thompson because she did her absolute best. But like, I don't think anyone else in the movie was, except the guy running the facial expression.
You know, another thing with Leah Thompson that I really love with this film, is her singing in it. I love
Yeah.
how good she sounds at singing, and it was actually her singing. They had planned to have another voice always be the person who sung whenever there was songs, but they ended up not having enough time to find someone to do it, and so Leah Thompson just said, "And I'll do it myself." And I think it's an amazing decision that they let her do that, because I love her singing this. I particularly love of the original song at the end and of the Howard the Duck theme song. I think it's a really fun song.
I'm very happy for you. It's just Jesus. I will say this was a very fun conversation to have. So
Yeah.
that is something positive that came from Howard the Duck. If Marvel comes out tomorrow and says we're making a Howard the Duck film, I ain't watching it. I'm not doing it. I'm not. I'm not doing it. I'm already put through too much trauma right now.
Oh man.
Well,
I honestly really want to see this Howard appear in Secret Wars, just because I know it'll annoy so many people.
I think there's a really good chance. I mean,
I think yeah. And I think the reason there's a good chance is because I think they could easily just make a CGI version of this version of him, and so it's easy to have him just pop up quickly, and you don't have to even pay the actor to come back and voice him. Just have him and pop up in the background or sign. I'm the same way. I think that signing like the 2003 Hulk could easily appear in Secret Wars, just because you don't have to pay a Eric Bana to come back or sign.
well, didn't they have Howard the Duck in a post-credit scene?
Yeah, they've had him in multiple post credit scenes in
Yeah.
the MCU. But I'm particularly talking about the '80s version of him. I would like to see a pop up again,
No.
and just because it would be funny to see how people react to it.
No. All you're doing is making money for the therapist because there's just no way that won't bring up so much childhood
Wait.
trauma.
Would it? How about would it make it better if he appeared, but he got killed by Doctor Doom?
Listen, here's my thing. I don't want to see those beady little eyes show up and like just so much of him. I'm so good. If he shows up and he doesn't die, I will have a problem. If he shows up and does die,
No,
I will still have a problem.
no. Oh, sign that I brought up to multiple people before that I think is very interesting is the narration when he is sent to Earth. Earth. Do you remember? Remember the narration in the film?
Hmm.
It is about as good of a definition of the multiverse as it gets. And because of that, I will die on the hill that that this is the start of the Marvel multiverse on film.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Well, I support the hell out of you for this because this is such a big thing to say. You're so you're so saying so many big things. I'm gonna think about these like a lot too, because it's like, was that the beginning of the multiverse?
It said like world without end, and in one world, what is fiction, or what is reality is mere fiction on another, and that just feels exactly like what the multiverse is.
Oh God, you're right. I cannot fall
Which
for this. Never mind.
which
You're
like I feel like it makes more sense for Duck World to be another universe than it just be another planet. Like I don't know, it just that just feels like that makes more sense to me.
it's just oh God. When I picture a duck world, that's not what I think of, and it's not what I want to think of. And it's
Yeah.
like the ducks that are laying in bed, the ducks that are in the bath, and it's like you didn't have to show that. You could have just not done. Someone made that. Someone the same way they made Howard the Duck, they made that naked duck,
Yeah.
and they were so serious about it. They just didn't have to do it, and they did. And it's like, I think that was the first time I ever saw someone topless on TV. It was a duck.
Oh God.
My parents had no idea. They did not know it was coming. God
Oh
bless
man.
them. I know they didn't look at the rating
You know,
because I know they said it's just a movie about a duck. I can tell you right now, I know
probably.
they did.
Yeah. They probably did not expect the weird um sex bath house thing, whatever the hell that
Yeah.
was. you know,
That's just,
aside that, I kind of wonder about because at least during all of the time that I was a kid, I never saw this be a film that popped up on like the TV listings, and I kind of wonder since like since normal TV stations they have to remove things to have it be allowed on TV. I wonder whether they would have removed the duck tits. Which is
I just,
I don't know. It's just that's just I find funny to think about to me. Like did someone have to go in and digitally remove those?
I think we're thinking too much about this.
Probably.
Because, like, halfway through my thought, I'm like, did they? And then, like, Megan, stop. You're going too far into it. So, you graded this movie an 8 out of 10. An 8. Number 8. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I probably would rate it higher, I don't want to annoy you too much.
Oh, no, you're fine. Your opinion is your opinion. I don't care. It doesn't have an
uh,
impact on me. Whatever. I give it a 1.
Understandable.
So,
I sign that I think it's interesting with this film because I don't think a lot of films from this time I'm delved into stuff like this is like they made a point to who like kind of call out the um scummy people in the entertainment business who try to I to force women to do things for them, and I think it's kind of cool that they called out something like that in a film from the 80s. Since back then, a lot of those kind of things were are very much covered up.
Yeah, that's true. It was a pretty gross time. I mean, some of that stuff's still happening,
Oh
and
yeah, absolutely.
it's
But
just
I
the
like that
with
it's at least being called out.
that's true. It's nice to see that it was being called out even then. But I mean, this it's just it's just such a bad movie. So, as we wrap up, thank you for being on. I literally would never have done this because
Yeah,
of trauma, but
understandable.
um,
And
where
I'm
can our
sorry for
listeners?
making you watch it.
It was worth it. It was worth it to do this with you.
Like,
So where can our listeners find you?
you can find me on Smash Trivia. Just look up Smash Trivia or Smash Trivia John on basically every major social media, and you'll just look for the guy with the green head in the profile picture, and that'll be me. You can listen to my podcast, Smash Trivia Presents the Game Analysis, on most major podcast platforms, and you can on YouTube, and as well TikTok for however long it's gonna stay around, and you'll have there's also short form content that I'm releasing on there as well.
Oh, great. Well, if whoever you're watching this episode or listening to this episode, just look in the show notes right below the episode, and you will be able to see all the links to where you can find John. Thank you so much for being here and breaking down Howard the Duck with me. It was a lot of fun, even though it brought us some childhood issues, but that's okay. That's on me. So you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for listening to this episode of the New and Improved Vigilante Vibes. Wherever you're listening to this episode, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my amazing guests or future episodes. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a marvelous night.